Yo, yo, yo. Welcome in After Hours Live. Dr. Grant Dennis here with the Specific Chiropractic Centers and my co-host. Wait.
Dr. Chris over here. If you take a peek, yeah, Grant's got his thumb. See, Grant's got his thumb going one way. I'm actually on the other side on my phone, and we are coming in remote. We're coming in remote from our respective roofs and homes. Grant looks like he's got a guy with a what is that? Is that a bathrobe above your head? I know what it is, but the people don't know. What do you got behind your head right
That's the greatest. Muhammad Ali. Float like a
Mm.
butterfly and sting like a bee.
Sting like a bee, he says. How many people we got on right now? What are we working with?
We got about 4 or 5 on right now joining us. And speaking of that, feel free to tell us who you are and where you're joining in from. We'd love to interact with you and have some fun this evening. And somebody is going to take home a lucky doctor-approved travel pillow tonight. Because the topic we're going to start off with is how to make travel not suck. I just went 4 weekends in a row and was traveling. So I went to Wynnewood, Oklahoma, followed by Mexico City, followed by Naples, Florida, followed by Spartanburg, South Carolina. 4 weekends in a row. And you had a trip yourself there, Brownie.
Yeah, I just got back from Italy on Sunday night at 12:30 a.m. and then swinging around and had a 7:30 a.m. patient. I was out for about 12 days or so. Jet lag wasn't crazy bad. It's a little bit better than the 9-hour shift I'm used to. And then Dr. Cam's in Florida right now. So we're all just flying through our respective travel seasons. And it seems like for the most part, we have been handling it pretty dang good. Which means, what else would you expect from us, right? But Grant's been hammering a bunch of mini trips. I just came off of a mega one, and majority of you probably got vacations lined up pretty soon. So this might be an episode that you want to look back on when those trips come up, because I'm sure we got some things dialed in that might be a little bit unorthodox, might be unheard of, might be heard of, who knows, but it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, so here's the deal. Good to see you, Miss Pam. And feel free to interact with us here, guys. Tell us who you are, where you're joining in from. We'd love to have some fun with you this evening. We're each just going to kind of bounce back some of our favorite, just back and forth, some of our favorite tips for travel. I'm going to start this off. One of the things that massively helps me. So before I travel, one of the things that I really like to do is I like to go and I like to get an IV right before I go. So one of the things I like to do is if, let's say I'm flying out on Thursday, I like to go the day before on Wednesday, maybe midday, and I like to get my IV fluids replenished. And I like to make sure I'm hydrated. So the term jet lag, people think that when you go on a plane for long flights, like, Chris was just talking about going down to Italy, that people, the term jet lag, people actually don't understand what that term means or why you feel bad. It's not because of the time change. What's up, Ralph? Good to see you, man. It has been a while. The jet lag occurs not because of the change in time. It actually occurs because of the dehydration. So when you get onto an airplane, you're under a pressurized cabin. So one of the reasons why it causes the delayed onset of like fatigue and fogginess and stuff like that is because you're dehydrated oftentimes. And the way that you can offset that is to make sure your hydration is plentiful and drink hydration while you're on the flight. What leads to symptoms of jet lag is actually just dehydration, because when your body is succumbed to a pressurized cabin, the partial pressures change, and it actually is causing your cells to turn over pretty rapidly. So what happens is it tends to just deplete your hydration reserves. It dries you out essentially. So when you're on those flights with a pressurized cabin for a long-term profound effect for a time period, it's actually dehydrating you. And it's dehydrating you at a very, very, very rapid pace. So because of that, you want to make sure you don't consume alcohol on a flight, because that will further dehydrate you. And you also want to try, if at all possible, to not consume caffeine. Caffeine and alcohol on long-term flights will put you in a massive dehydrated state, and it will cause you to have massive issues when you arrive at your destination, which nobody wants. What you got, Chris?
Well, that's good. So piggybacking off of that, talking about dehydration, what actually has us hydrate isn't necessarily just water, but it's electrolytes in water. Because our cells, they are dealing with different types of electrolytes, such as sodium, potassium, magnesium, chloride, and we're essentially walking oceans. That's really what a human Earth suit is that it's a walking ocean. And so that's how our cells operate. And as we are being dehydrated due to this pressure change from a flight, we're probably also drinking a lot less water than we normally would. Probably drinking maybe not as quality of water as we would if we're getting from the fountains and the airports. So an awesome way to kind of hit that reboot a lot quicker is having electrolytes in your travel pack that you can dip into on your way home. So I just got Amazon package dropped off my apartment. I got some Keto Chow electrolyte drops, which have concentrated sodium, magnesium, potassium, and trace minerals from the Great Salt Lakes. And then also Element, which is dried flavor. So these are great for travel because they won't get dinged on a carry-on. But especially with what Graham was saying about alcohol and caffeine, especially coffee will inhibit sodium absorption. About like, I think 50% of sodium that goes into your body, caffeine will prevent 50% from getting absorbed. And sodium is one of the main things that allow our cells to actually fire on all cylinders and be activated. So what he was saying about not having caffeine, that's a big piece towards allowing that dehydration piece to be mitigated as much as possible. So that way, when you get out of your flight and into the place that you're at, you are as hydrated or as less dehydrated as possible. Basically, you want to be in that green zone, in that credit section, not necessarily in the debit. And so I really recommend, I mean, I think these are fantastic. It's pretty clean ingredients. It's just salt, citric acid, magnesium malate, potassium chloride, natural flavor, stevia leaf extract. This is one of the cleaner ones. This is one that Dr. Huberman, Peter Taya, Chris Williamson, a lot of big health gurus on the internet type space. They all are big not founders, but promoters of this. It's like $20 on Amazon, and it tastes fantastic. So that's what would be that's one of my little pieces. It's definitely electrolytes. I did not have electrolytes. Actually, no, I did. I did have electrolytes on my trip, and that helped me out a ton for sure.
Yeah, so we've got quite a few people joining us here. We got Vicky and Dan. Good to see you guys. Got my Mimi, Ann Horton there, and her husband Wayne, #1 fan. And then yeah, Vicky saying she now drinks liquid IV daily, got off all the other drinks. Very nice, very good. You're probably noticing differences there, which is great. Got Tanya Riley, Ralph, Miss Pam Prince, got quite a few folks on here. Feel free to tell us where you are, where you're joining in from. Talking travel tips this evening. Next one I've got is it's going to kind of be a little bit more counterintuitive probably to something, or maybe you've been told before. When you're on, one of the biggest things you have to watch out for when you're traveling, especially on a long flight on a plane, is what's called deep vein thrombosis. What causes this is a clot in your arteries that when you undergo these partial pressures I was talking about on a plane and you're in a pressurized tube for 6 hours or more, what that does is it messes with your circulation, and it can actually cause maybe some minor little tiny clots that may or may not be present in your system to dislodge and cause a deep vein thrombosis. And there's a couple of things you can do to offset this. The first is you can wear compression socks. So wear socks that are tightly fit to your feet that go up halfway up the calf. So this is the time to bring out those real tall ankle socks or those real tall knee socks, or maybe even like compression tights. That's why oftentimes you'll see, Ralph says he's fixing to go on a cruise. You don't have to worry about it so much. You're not succumb to partial pressures like you are on flights, unless you're flying to where you're going, then you definitely would. On a cruise though, Ralph, make sure you're taking those little anti-nausea patches you can put behind your ear to help you not get seasick. That's an extra special tip there. So compression socks, that's why oftentimes you'll see a lot of people too wear leggings. So like yoga leggings or yoga pants or some sort of compression type pant when they're flying. not only is it comfortable, but it also is going to help compress and keep blood flow circulation better. Second thing is you want to get up every 30 minutes. You want to walk up and down the aisle. Disclaimer on that. If you're moving about the cabin and turbulent, obviously make sure you have a seatbelt on. You're careful. But if it permits and the seatbelt signs off, or if it's a smoother flight, get up every 30 minutes and walk, because what that walking will do is allow your calf to start squeezing and promote blood flow. And you want to make sure the biggest thing you're trying to avoid on a long-term flight is your blood staying static or in a state of stasis, because that's when things under a certain change in pressure can cause things in your vasculature, in your lower legs and in your arms and your extremities to start to have an issue. And it's not going to occur until you get off the flight and you get back under the normal state of conditions of pressure. That's when then it will start to cause issues. But you can mitigate that by wearing compression pants, compression socks, and getting up every 30 minutes and just simply walking around, as simple as it may seem. Try to do that every 30 minutes or so. And I think you're gonna find that your travel goes a lot smoother. What else you got, Chris?
I just had a thought. It would be how many people we have on, so I can't see how many people we have on.
Yeah, we've got about, I would say we got 7 or 8 on live with us right now.
Okay, I'd be pretty curious in hearing what people's typical challenges that they might individually face with travel. What is it? Because like Grant, like with deep venous thrombosis, that's catering towards people who are dealing with like maybe higher blood pressure, maybe risk of some kind of type clot, maybe of an older age. It could also be people who are going on like maybe just like a weekend trip, like a road trip, maybe a big type of flight like I'm going on. So there's a bunch of different types of players that are involved. For me, one that I'm thinking of, especially with what we were talking about, like time type change, dehydration is a big way, especially when entering the new space and trying to like regroup on that first day. But also circadian rhythm is a big piece too, because our body operates on a 24-hour cycle, especially hormonally, and also temperature wise. That's how we wake up. That's also how we go to sleep. And typically that's what's causing issues with either waking up in the middle of the night, not being able to stay asleep, having difficulties falling asleep, or maybe you're having a tough time waking up because maybe you went in one direction of the world versus another. And there's an app on the iPhone called Time Shifter that if you plug in your trip and your flight info into this app, it will actually spit out basically a recipe for things that you can do timing wise, like 2-3 days prior to your flight, that will help mitigate jet lag that you might experience. So my family coming from San Francisco, the jet lag, the time difference between San Francisco and Italy was 9 hours. And so basically your entire day is just inverted. And so things that they had to do was they had to get up earlier, basically an hour earlier each day for like 3 days. They also had to be strict on the timing of their caffeine consumption. I think sometimes they had to not consume caffeine in the afternoon, which I think both my parents do. And they also had to be in bed at certain times. And what they noticed, typically in their experience with Europe travel, they're put down for about 2-3 days. And what they experienced was that we were tired day one, and then day two, we were fine. For me, it wasn't bad because we all get up pretty early and go work out together. And so for me, it's a 7-hour shift. And basically right now I wake up at like 10:30 a.m. Italy time, or 10:30, 11 Italy time. So basically I'm already just sleeping in a bunch in Italy. So it just make me wake up just a hair earlier. But that app is really cool, but it's a lot of circadian rhythm too. And so you can start to mitigate that early on, just a couple days ahead. That will help decrease the amount of sluggishness you might be experiencing. That coupled with electrolytes on your trip, you'll be feeling superhuman while everyone else is still dragging behind.
Nice. I got one more. We'll do one more each. And the last one is relevant to tonight's topic. So we're going to be giving away a travel pillow here pretty soon. And that is my last tip, is you need a travel pillow. Obviously, we're big doctors of the nervous system and the neck. We're literally neck docs. The neck is what we take care of, and it's what we specialize in. So we are hyper diligent on our neck posture. if you're one of those that sleeps on a flight and your neck is like this, or your neck is like this, or like this, you're going to wake up when you get there and you're going to have neck pain and it's going to suck. And the way to mitigate that is to get a nice travel pillow. Lucky for you, one of you that this evening is going to take home the one that we recommend. And what you want is one that is one of those ones that looks like a horseshoe. It's what's called a travel horseshoe pillow. And it goes behind the back of the neck and it comes around the front. And what it keeps your head and neck from doing is going side to side, and it keeps you in a neutral. Yeah, that guy right there. Yep. So Chris is demonstrating there what you want to do, and his cinches up. Yep, and that's what you want. And then so what happens is when you go to sleep, it will keep your neck in a really good posture. And I didn't even know you had one sitting there. That's funny. And so that's the kind you want right there. And it'll keep your neck neutral, because another thing that happens at that partial pressure we were talking about on flights is it affects your discs. Your discs in your neck are full of fluid. And so when the pressure decreases in the flight, and they have to increase the pressure in response to that, it's going to cause the volume in your disc to decrease. And so when the volume in your disc start to decrease, that's going to cause your neck to kind of shrink down. What this pillow will design to do is keep your neck in what's called a distracted position, kind of what he's demonstrating there. It's going to keep your discs healthy. It's going to make sure you don't wake up with neck pain or headaches when you arrive at your destination. And there's the double whammy I'm here to tell you is when you show up and you have dehydration going on and you've got a stiff neck and you've got an irritated disc. That is going to really cause issues when it comes to where you show up. You're going to have headache, neck pain, and you're going to have fatigue and brain fog. And it's because you're dehydrated, you haven't got up, moved about, your blood flow static, and your discs are irritated, and you're not in a good neutral neck position. Vicky says, never seen one. Dan said, I need that all the time. He may very well might. Yeah, and so that's what would be one of my last tips there. What you got for us, Brownie, there? Last one.
Thing I got for you guys is that I rocked this thing the entire flight there and back. It's fantastic. Just had this around. It felt weird taking it off. So it's actually pretty nice having this on. It's almost like a comfortable sea collar, although I would never ever want to wear a sea collar. So for me, this one is a little bit more advanced, but one that I do often, more so when I return from a trip, is I typically always fast the day I come back. And I'm sure Grant was probably anticipating this one. But one of the best times to do a fast is A, after a holiday, or B, after travel. Because typically after a holiday, you're eating just anything and everything that is on the spread, on the kitchen table, and you do not care what goes into your body. You're a straight black hole. At least that's what I do. Secondly, after vacation, same thing. Eat whatever, you order whatever the heck's on the menu. You are not in control of your ingredients, and neither do you care. And with that, especially if you're dealing with time change, you're essentially going to be eating when you would be sleeping, or you would be not eating when you would be awake. And so your whole gut timer is just thrown off. So we need to reset that. We want to reset that as fast as possible. And maybe also along the way, allow our body time to clear out any kind of bad cells that might have accumulated from going black hole mode after a vacation of travel, especially if people go on cruises. That might not be the best quality food, or maybe it is. I have no idea. I've never been on a cruise. But I can't imagine if someone goes on a trip to Mexico and Cancun, that's the best quality kind of stuff that they would be getting from their own Trader Joe's back home. So
another travel tip: when you go to Mexico, don't drink the water.
Yes.
When you go to Cancun or you go to Mexico, do not drink the water.
Don't get Montezuma's revenge. Do not get Montezuma's revenge.
That's a bonus. It's a bonus tip. Drink bottled water anywhere you go.
And brush your teeth with bottled water.
Yeah, don't even use the water to brush your teeth. It's bad. Don't make that mistake. I just got back from Mexico City 2 weeks ago, and I used bottled water. It's the first time I've ever went to Mexico and not got Montezuma's revenge. And the reason I attribute that to is I took all these precautions that I just told you guys about, but I also made sure that I didn't even brush my teeth with the faucet water. I used bottled water. No water enters the mouth of unknown origin in Mexico, because if you do, you're going to pay for it, and it's going to suck. No. Moving on to our next topic. We're just making an announcement. We just are doing a promotion the first week of June, just making you guys aware, for maybe you guys who have family and friends out there who want to start care with us or want to explore. The first week of June is going to be a great time to do that. The reason is because there's this thing going on in mid-June called the College World Series. And if you guys know me, you know, and Chris as well, you know us. We're both former college baseball players. We keep up with baseball. We love baseball, and we are massive Arkansas Razorback baseball fans, which is quite convenient because they're second in the country currently. And I believe so much in my Arkansas Razorbacks that I am willing to put my money where my mouth is. So anybody who starts care in the first week of June, if the Arkansas Razorbacks win the national championship, you will get your care plan package back. Or any money you spend with us in the first week of June, if you're a current client, you will get that money refunded back to you if the Razorbacks win the national championship. I'm pulling a Mattress Mac like he did with Houston. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. So if you know anybody out there on the fence about when they should start or when they should start care with us or explore that, looks like Miss Terry said she's been twice, I'm assuming Mexico. And Miss Vicky's never flown. Oh, wow. Well, when you do, Miss Vicky, that's quite a feat right there. You're going to love it. It's actually something really relaxing about flying. There really is, once you get past the turbulence. And, you know, I used to be really fearful of flights, and I used to not like flying. And it used to bother me, like turbulence. I used to get anxiety and get freaked out about flying. And then I had a buddy who is a pilot who completely cured me of this, Chris. He completely cured me. You know how he cured me?
He made you fly a plane.
No, he cured me when he said, you got to remember, the guy flying that plane, he wants to go home too. And I was like, He's like, that guy wants to land this plane more than you do, because he also wants to go home. And if, for whatever reason, that was just like what clicked for me. I don't know. That's weird, right? But yeah. So last second announcement there. Anyone who starts the first week of June will get their entire care plan or office visit investment during that week back if the Razorbacks win the national championship, which they are. Putting it out there right now into the ethers. Arkansas Razorbacks are national champions this year in baseball. And when they are, I am going to be a very happy person.
I wonder who's going to win first, Arkansas Razorbacks in Omaha or the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl?
Definitely the Arkansas Razorbacks in the College World Series.
I hope it's back-to-back.
Right about June 15th of this year, I'm going to be very, very happy when I watch them actually catch the pop-up instead of drop the pop-up. And yes, that's right, Miss Vicky. We do want Dr. Grant happy. And so the way we do that is we are going to make sure we win the national championship this year, which we are. I've never felt more convinced about it. We're in a little bit of a slump right now, but that's okay. I'd rather us lose some games right now. I was telling somebody I'd rather us lose now than just do what we did in 2021, which was just run the table the whole year and then lose when it matters. So we just got some stuff to figure out. It'll totally be cool. Before we do the giveaway here, we're going to give away this travel pillow. If you have commented in the comments, you're going to be entered to win. We're going to randomly select a comment to the right. We're going to randomly select that. And so if you're joining us and you haven't commented, put something in the comments to be entered to win the drawing. All you got to do is, Miss Terry Ayers says she was there in 2018. No, you weren't.
Wow.
Oh, I'm still not over 2018. All we had to do was catch the pop-up, and we're national champions. And we not only lost that game, but we lost game 3 too. And it sounds like Miss Terry was there, which is that's tough, Terry. I don't know that. I'm glad I wasn't there. Oof, that was that's tough. That was a tough loss. Not only that loss, but the third loss. One pop-up away. Anyways, I'm done with that. We're done. We're done with that. We're going to do something unique that we don't really ever do. We got about 5 minutes left here before we get cut off of our channels. Anybody got any questions? Anything they'd like us to answer? Anything that they're curious about relative to health? We are just here to provide value and resource and honestly just be a resource. Man, Terry was in Tennessee for the fumble too. Terry, do not go to the College World Series this year. Do not go. Watch it from home. So I'm seeing a trend here.
Put your blindfold on.
I'm glad you're here too, Dan. It's awesome, man. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, we're going to make ourselves available to you guys, anything related to anything health wise. And if not, we'll wrap up early and do a giveaway, but just give you guys a chance. If you have any questions or anything you're curious about relative to health, we're all ears here because, as you know, our vision is to see that Arkansas becomes the happiest, healthiest place in existence. And our mission is to be the beacon in our community, help people who are sick, suffering, and hopeless understand that their life is not defined by their diagnosis. That's our jam. So it's good stuff. Brown, it's been a good day.
It's been a good day. I got an honorary Cameron Daniels member in my household right now. And him and his family are out in Florida. It's Cam's first vacation with his wife and his daughters, and so I'm watching his doggo. And Annie's taking a nap.
Oh, man.
Cashed out on my pillow.
Yeah, Dr. Cam's on vacation. We wish him well wishes that him and his bride Megan made it to Florida safely, and they're on a little bit of vacation. So that's why you got Dr. Brown and I today. And that's Annie.
That's wow. Annie.
She's a sweetheart.
Oh, dude, she's so nice. She's super chill. I went back during lunch to get her out and walk her around, and she gets gassed on walks quickly. she was like, she had like feet dug in the ground, like, I am not moving right now. And I was like, yo, I gotta get back to the clinic. I got patients. Annie, we need to scoot.
So Vicky's got a quiz. Is it possible to bring a nerve back to life after it's bad? What you got there, Brown?
Yes, it can. Absolutely. Yeah, no, nerves, everything still has a healing capability within it. That piece never goes away. So nerves that are they may have a decrease in function at the moment, but that function can absolutely be restored. And typically, if you have a peripheral nerve, more than likely that is not operating the way that it should. Probably the underlying root is going to be deeper in the central nervous system. So that's where I would go take a peek to get that checked. And I bet if that's good, then that nerve will heal up.
Yep. So when it comes to nerves, the first thing you have to understand is the hierarchy of healing. So in the hierarchy of healing, a nerve can regenerate and it can heal. It just takes way longer than a bone, muscle, tendon, or ligament. So our body is made up essentially of these things, which is bone, muscle, ligament, tendon, organ, and nerve. And in that order, a bone and an organ actually can heal very quickly. So you can break a bone and it can heal within 6 to 8 weeks, actually. A muscle can strain, sprain, or tear, and that's going to be about 8 to 12 weeks. When you look at a tendon, so for example, Dr. Cam ruptured his Achilles tendon. He's walking already again, and that's within about a 10 to 14 week period. And then the next part of that is a ligament. A ligament takes longer because it doesn't have near as much blood supply. Nerve doesn't have near as much blood supply. So a ligament, like when you tear an ACL or you tear a shoulder ligament or a labrum, that's going to be closer to 4 to 6 month recovery. And then when a nerve's damaged, we're talking 4 to 6 years sometimes recovery, just depending on the extent of the damage to the nerve. This is why people who suffer severe neurological damage, a la your quadriplegics and paraplegics, people who are wheelchair bound or paralyzed, it's because they've had permanent damage to their nerves. And those oftentimes are really, really difficult to come back in through a healing state. That takes a lot longer, and if ever, honestly. And so it really depends on the extent of the damage to the nerve. But we have seen what will drive a nerve's healing the fastest is when a nerve impulse is sent down it. So every time we check people, what we're looking for is proper communication and nerve signaling from the brain to the body. Keeping that true and pure and 100% is actually allowing the nervous system to undergo stimulation and current exchange, which is speeding up the nerve healing process. Every time your brain sends a signal through the nerve down to, let's just say, the muscle of the lower back, every time that happens, the nerve gets stronger. It has a chance of healing as well as the muscle that it's connected to. So, keeping fluid moving as much as possible, which causes stimulation, keeping your nervous system clear causes nerve stimulation. All of these things are critical to proper nerve recovery. So that's a great question. It's a super great question. Mm-hmm. Anybody else? So we've got about 39 comments, if I counted correctly. And so what we're going to do, so that's 40. Let's see here. Yeah, so we're gonna pick a random. You got Siri, Chris? Oh no, you can't because you're on your phone.
I don't know how I would do that.
Let me see here. How do you? Oh, now Dr. Grant's gonna show you guys his pure naiveness. I don't even know how to use Siri.
Oh, come on.
Let's
Just
see
use a
here.
random number generator on Google.
A
While I
Siri and search.
show everyone Annie rolling on her back and exposing her belly.
Random number generator. Is that what you said?
Yeah, just go into Google.
You and
do random number
Cam always
generator.
does this.
Yeah, Cam's our giveaway guy. Mystery giveaway guy.
Random. Let me see. Random number generator. Okay.
Are you about to do 1 through 40?
1 through 40. Yep.
Oh man, if he gives you like 27 or something, you have to count 27.
So we're going 1 through 40. You guys
There
can
it is.
see there. 1 through 40. I'm gonna
He's
click
not
generate.
lying.
Generate. 24.
Oh, get counting, Grant.
Number 24. That's who's
All right.
won. Let's see here. Get the travel pillow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Ralph Farmer.
Hey!
Ralph Farmer's number 24 has
There it
won
is.
the giveaway. Got a nice travel pillow. It's going to help you out very nicely, Ralph, on that cruise you take, my man. You're going to be on the cruise, laid back, chilling on a nice pillow. Ralph, all you got to do is call the office. You know the number, my man. Just call the office, and, dude, we'll have that thing ready for you, man. And you can take that on your cruise. I don't know if Ralph is still here. Ralph, you still here, man?
Lucky guy.
Oh, that's the other thing. Ralph has to be here.
Yeah, that's true. He got to be present to win.
Ralph has to. Ralph, you here, man? He popped off at the wrong time.
No,
Ralph, if you're here, say I'm here. Oh, yeah. He said thanks. He's here.
Okay,
Ralph's here.
Okay. All right. We're
There
just being
is.
honest, Ralph.
Hey, folks, as always, we have really enjoyed this. It's always fun. Hopefully you find some value here. Hopefully you guys got some good takeaways for the next time you travel. And remember, send in your friends and family first week of June. They could be a winner while the Razorbacks are winners and while I'm a winner, which is going to be great. And Ralph, give our office a call, my friend. Pick up your travel pillow. Folks, as always, every Wednesday, 6:30 Central, we come here live. And before we sound off, be sure we're safe tonight. All these storms popping through. Got a lot of bad weather coming through last night. It looks like there's going to be again tonight. Make sure you know where your safety precautions are, where that central spot in your house is. As always, be safe. And we love all you guys. Thanks for tuning in with us and making our night even better. Sound off, Chris.
Pig suing.
All righty. See you guys next Wednesday, 6:30. Have a great rest of your evening.